Hey FlossTube, this is Brian. Welcome back. This is my 70th FlossTube video, and I plan on sharing with you what I have been working on this week. But first of all, I want to welcome you. If you are new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the things that I have to share with you. If you are returning, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate it, and thank you for all of your comments and all of your suggestions. I really enjoy reading your comments. It's been a great week. I have a little bit of family news. My youngest daughter has decided to serve a mission for our church, and she submitted her application to do that a couple of weeks ago and received her letter telling her where she is going to serve this week. Last night she opened it and announced where she's going, and she is going to be serving in Argentina, close to Buenos Aires, kind of southeast of Buenos Aires. This is really exciting for me because I also went to Argentina for my mission, and I served right in Buenos Aires. So she's going to be kind of in the same area that I was. She's going to learn Argentine Spanish, which is the Spanish that I know, and it is just really exciting for me to see her go there. So she will be leaving in the middle of February, so we've got to work on getting the final preparations for her to get ready to go. She will not be going to school this next semester, of course, so when she finishes classes, we will be moving her back here, and she'll be with us for about a month and a half before she leaves. And like I say, we're really excited about that. Before I continue, I just want to respond to some comments that were left on my channel after my last video. So first of all, last week I talked about the formula that is used to calculate your design size. And as I was talking, I was just talking off of the top of my head. And as I went back to edit that video, I realized that I had made a mistake. So I just want to highlight that because I don't want anybody to use those formulas and make a mistake and end up with half the amount of fabric that they need. So basically, when you take your stitch count and divide it by your fabric counts, after you do that, if you're stitching over 2, you want to multiply by 2. I said divide by 2, but you want to multiply by 2. Or another thing you could do is just divide by, if you're stitching over 2, your actual fabric count. For example, if you're stitching on 32 count fabric, if you're stitching over 2, then your real fabric count is 16. So if you divide by the fabric count divided by 2, that will be basically the same thing. So I just wanted to make sure that I made it clear that I had made a mistake in that video. So Nancy asked me if I know of a company that sells full coverage charts that are not computer generated, and I don't know of any modern company that does that. That was done back before the advent of computers, and everything nowadays I think is computer generated. I also want to clarify one thing. From some of the comments I've received, I'm kind of getting a feeling that people are thinking that I am disparaging computer-generated charts, and I'm really not. It's more like when I think about doing a computer-generated chart, I want to make sure that it's something that I think will not, that I think will be more likely to translate a lot easier. So if I see a chart that has a whole bunch of really small, real details, I think that is a computer-generated chart that I would avoid. And of course, I'll say this also. From a distance, they all look fine. It's only when you get up close, they're meant to be seen from a distance. And I understand that. It's just that when I stitch, I want to stitch something that looks good close up and far away. And that's the case. Another thing about that whole Autumn Magic saga, Stephanie from Lindy Stitches this last week, she did a video and she stated 3 criteria to use to decide whether or not it's time to give away a chart or to stop working on it. And a lot of her criteria meet the feelings that I was having with Autumn Magic. It was kind of a chore to stitch on, and I don't think that the finished project would be the reward that I would expect from finishing a piece. So it wasn't just that it was computer generated, it was that I was kind of down on that project as a whole. I am not saying I will never stitch another computer generated chart. It's just I will have to be very careful about what I stitch. Okay. Okay, Sandy asked me, would I show you how I mark my pattern and how I do my diagonal stitching? So if you want to see that, there is a video. It's floss tube number 5. I will link to it in the comments below. And that video shows how I stitch diagonally, and it also talks about how I mark my chart. So you can check that out. Basically, I just draw a diagonal line and on my chart, and then I stitch all the stitches below that line. That's how I mark my chart. And then when I finish stitching that block that I'm working on, then I just highlight everything that I've stitched so that I can keep track of where I am. I had several people point out that you can still buy 18 count Rustico. It is available on 123 Stitch. I'm told, I haven't looked, but I believe that. And it is also available in several different places. So I misspoke when I said I don't think you can get it anymore. For the Red House sampler, which I am planning on starting in January, I am not planning on using that. I am looking for something else. I would rather stitch on a higher count than 18 count. So, but if you want to use 18 count Rustico as the chart calls for, it is available. Okay. Also, once again, that I will be starting that on the new year or close to it. I don't know exactly when I will be starting it, but it will be as soon after the beginning of the year as I can. So if you are welcome to join, and in a couple of weeks I will come up with a hashtag that we can use on Instagram to share our progress. I have had lots of people indicate interest in doing it with me, so gather your stuff together and feel free to join me. Kimmy said, I noticed that you have 7 whips. Yes, I have 7 whips. From the chart that I showed last week, I have 7 whips. And she asked me, is that enough, or is that too many for you? And 7 whips is kind of getting high on my comfort level, but I'm kind of trying to push that away a little bit. I think the greatest number of whips that I have ever had is 10 or 11 maybe, and that was really getting kind of out of control. So I'm not going to stop starting projects because I have 7 whips, but I'm going to try to start smaller projects until I can get some of my bigger, more complicated projects out of the way. That way I think I'll still have finishes and my whip count won't get too out of control. So anyway, so that's everything. Also, last week I announced a giveaway. I announced giving away this chart, Bringing Home the Tree. This is a design by It's So Emma Stitchery by Lori Holtz of the Bee in My Bonnet Company. And as I said, we've had a giveaway this week, and I want to thank you all for your comments. And the winner of the chart is Her Ha Stitcher. So thank you. If you will please email me or direct message me on Instagram with your address, I will get this chart sent out to you and hope to get it to you in time enough that you can start it before Christmas. So congratulations. Thank you for everybody who participated in that giveaway. The question that I asked is, what are some of your favorite Christmas traditions? And I thought I would share a couple of mine. Christmas is coming up. I mean, Thanksgiving's this week, so it's coming around the corner. So I thought I'd share you one of ours. My wife likes to collect Christmas picture books. And we started with one or two when we first started our family, and every year she's added one or two books to the mix. And we, after Thanksgiving, we started, on the 1st of December, we would read a Christmas book every night until Christmas. That tradition has kind of changed over the last couple of years because for all practical purposes, we are kind of empty nesters now. So we're not quite as religious. We're not doing it quite the same way as we used to. When we got more than 25 books, my wife would select 25 books and wrap each book. And then one of the kids could choose one of the books and we would unwrap it to see what book we would read. That was to prevent a little bit of fighting over who got to decide what book they wanted to read. So anyway, so we have a whole box full of Christmas picture books. And I thought I'd share with you some of the favorites that we have. Just as a suggestion, these might be books. If you would like to start a similar tradition with your family, these are some of the books that I would recommend. Of course, there's always the classic 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and of course there's different versions with different illustrators. This is the one that my wife found when she was looking for it. Another one that you can't do without is, of course, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So that you can't go without reading that book. And another one that is kind of traditional is, of course, The Polar Express. That's also a fun book to read. And then these are a few books that you may not know of, but that I really like. This is a story called The Tale of the Three Trees. It's about three trees that have a desire to be the tallest, strongest trees, and their desire is met, but not quite in the way that they expect. That is a really good one. This is a story that brings tears to my eyes every year. It kind of reminds me of growing up. Christmas Day in the Morning. It's a story by Pearl S. Buck, and it's a story about a boy who decides to give his father the greatest Christmas present ever. So that is a really good book. Another fun one is Mr. Willoughby's Christmas Tree. This is just kind of a fun, cute book that my kids all love. This is one of their favorites. And then this is another one that brings tears to my eyes. This is called The Christmas Miracle of Jonathan Toomey. It's about a widow and her son moving into a town and asking Jonathan Toomey to carve a nativity for them. And it is a very touching book to me also. Anyway, there are a whole bunch of other books, and more than enough that you could read a Christmas picture book and every day for the year if you wanted to. A lot of you mentioned your grandma's recipes, cakes, pies, cookies. My grandmother was famous for her candy. She dipped chocolates and made caramels and fudge. When I was in high school, I helped her dip, and so I learned how to dip chocolates, but I never learned how to make the fondant that you dip, so I miss my grandma's chocolates. But she did teach me how to make caramels and fudge, and so every Christmas we make caramels and fudge. Okay, so those are some of our Christmas traditions. Okay, yeah, I don't really have a chart to show you this week. I'm kind of in transition so there's not really anything interesting to show you. But we'll talk about what I've been working on. So this week I have been working on Amid Amish Life. I have had a ton of people on Instagram This seems to have really attracted a lot of interest on Instagram because I've had people ask me about it all week. What is it? Where do you get it? Yeah, I've had a lot of interest in this pattern. So this of course is a design that was in Cross Stitch and Country Crafts in the March, May, and July 1987 issues. And it's really hard to find. I am sorry. It's also in this book, 101 Best Love Designs from Cross Stitch and Country Crafts. I got this book before it got rare, and now it's kind of expensive, kind of hard to find and kind of expensive. So, of course, it's three designs depicting Amish life. You can stitch them separately or as one piece, and I am stitching them as one piece. And I will show you what it looked like the last time you saw it. I am stitching this on 25 count Wedgewood Lugana, and I am stitching it with 3 strands of floss. And I've mentioned before, I did 3 strands because I wanted to have good coverage, but 3 strands is a real pain. I'm happy with how it's turning out, but I would really rather not stitch with 3 strands. Anyway, this is what it looks like now. So I am really happy with my progress this week because I basically stitched 2 diagonals. I'm back down here where I was last week. And I am really happy because you see this, there's just one little corner of white left to stitch, and I think I will finish that the next diagonal. We've hit the top of the roof, and you can see the beginnings of the chimney. This is going to be a lightning rod. So the house is really starting to look like it's going to be complete. You can see a lot more of this chimney over here, so there's a chimney on either side. You get to see the whole chimney here, and so that is taking shape. And then I finished this lady and her daughter that are coming to visit, and now we are starting to see a horse. So we also have a horse showing up. There's going to be a carriage, one of those Amish carriages over here. So we're going to start seeing that. So I'm really happy with what I have been able to accomplish. I'll give you a little bit closer look so you can see what it's looking like. So this is the second design. The first design is called Hanging the Quilts. The border between the 2 designs is right here. So I have almost finished the first design. There's just a little bit more left to stitch. The second design is actually split between 2 pages. And the end of the first page is right about here. So I'm getting close to moving over to the second page of this second design, which is also kind of exciting. It's feeling like I'm hitting a whole bunch of I'm getting a whole bunch of progress right now. I am excited to finish the house because I'm excited to see what's over in here. We're going to see more fields like over here, and that'll be exciting to see as well. So I'll give you a little bit closer view so you can see it. This chimney is kind of a pain. The way I stitch, I haven't figured out how to do this. This is actually the part that I'm least happy with, and that's because I have found that when you have alternating stitches like this, that is really hard to make look neat. I haven't figured out how to do it this way. If I had been thinking, I know a better way to do this, and that's to stitch each color 1 by 1 diagonally. I didn't think about that when I started this. So if I were really interested in it, I could take all of this red out and restitch it and make it look good, but I'm not going to do that. And I don't want to start doing it that way because I'm afraid it'll make it look different. So it's good enough that I'm happy with it. Anyway, yeah, it's been a fun week. So I worked on this, and then last week I worked on Four Seasons, and then I worked on this again. Is that right? It's been really quick. So it feels like I'm ready to put this up for a while. The last couple of days I decided I was starting to get a little bit tired of it. So it's time to move on. And I have 3 or 4 designs that have been sitting for a while, and I am ready to get working on them. So what am I going to be working on this week? Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to be working on a Saviour's Praise. This is a design by Teresa Vanette of Shakespeare's Peddler. Of course, this is not a reproduction sampler. It's her design that looks like a sampler that was stitched in 1838 is the date that she put on it. I've talked about this before. It has a whole bunch of virtues on the sides. I am changing some of those to match a verse in Doctrine and Covenants. And so I'm going to have to, let's see, this one I'm going to be able to stitch. I'm going to have to change this one over here. So anyway, I am stitching this on the called for 40 count, oh dear, Beach Brew, I think. I'll put a caption what fabric this is because I didn't look it up and I've forgotten what it is. But it is 40 count, and it is fabric by R&R. I think it's Beach Brew, but I'll put it just to make sure, okay? And this is what it looks like right now. So I have gotten up here. I feel like this is a section of the design that I've finished. And I'm excited to be working up here because there's all the trees and the house in the center. So I think I'm getting really close to like the center focus of the design. I'll give you a little bit closer look. I am so excited to be working on this again. It's been a long time. It's been over 3 months, as I said in my last video. So it's time to work on this. And I hope that I get a lot of time to stitch. So let me see. I've made 2 changes to the words already. I changed this down here to temperance. This one I changed to virtue, and kindness goes up here, and that is going to stay the same, so I don't have to do any thinking right there. This one has like right judgment or something that I'm going to have to change. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to work on this. So we'll see what I can do this week. Yeah, so that's about all that I have to share with you. If you celebrate Thanksgiving this week, if you're in the U.S., I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. We are going to just have a small Thanksgiving with my family and 2 of my kids. It'll be nice to be together and celebrate the holiday and remember what we are grateful for. I hope that you have a great Thanksgiving with your family or whoever you celebrate with. As always, you can continue to follow me on Instagram to see my daily progress and see what I am see how I do on the Saviour's Praise or anything else that I am working on. As always, feel free to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I will answer them to the best of my ability. If you like this video, feel free to like it as well. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope that you have a great week and a wonderful holiday, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.